No, we're here filming a food demonstration today. We're cooking some lentil dal and potato soup. We're going to be making some sweet and some savory dishes, all for your dining and viewing pleasure. So we're going to rock this joint. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be so wonderful. You'll see things that you didn't even know existed, and some things probably shouldn't be done on TV, but you're going to see them here today.
Welcome to a space where healthy food not only makes you feel good, it warms your heart and soul with love. Learn how to turn local organic produce into mouth-watering meals that nourish your body and soul. This is the art of cooking from the heart.
Yeah, today I'm introducing people to Cooking from the Heart, and at Giving Tree Cafe, and before that at Chocolate Tree Organic Oasis in Sedona. It's just the way we did things, and before that it's the way we raised our family, etc. So it's a fun experience to be able to share that with people. And the thing I like most about it is we're pretty conscious. This community is very conscious, and yet when I do this and help people with this, oftentimes, you know what, I wasn't thinking about that aspect, or that's something that I hadn't really thought of before. So it brings more consciousness into the process, and that's really what this is about for me. The consciousness of being connected to Mother Earth, the consciousness of being connected to our source, whatever you call that, and then using that connection in everything we do. And yet preparing food is such an important part of how we live our lives, and especially living a consciously authentic life, we want to eat consciously authentic food, and so the preparation process is different than going through a drive-through, for instance. So the people that go through drive-throughs, I love them, and there's a place for that for everybody. I'm not judging that. However, it's a less conscious way to prepare food than if you were to take wholesome, in-season organic ingredients and prepare a dish yourself from what's local and wholesome and organic today. And so that's what we'll be sharing today. And we're really excited about it. Thank you all for being here.
In today's episode, Chef Dave walks us through how to make a hearty fall stew. Great for those cozy, snuggle up by the fire days. This easy to prepare stew doesn't take a lot of time, but it is sure to please even the pickiest eater. Gluten-free? Vegan? Nut-free? The most common allergens may be missing, but taste certainly isn't.
I want to thank you all and tell you how honored I am to be presenting Cooking from the Heart. And this is such an amazing group, and I love that I get to talk to this community. And no judgment, I love everybody. The conscious community kind of already gets it. There might not be a single word here today you have that's new to you. There's probably not anything I'm going to do that's new. Maybe it's put together a little differently, but the conscious community already knows what I'm going to talk about. What Cooking from the Heart is, quite simply, is being conscious and being aware of what you're doing. And so the first requirement for being conscious is being present, right? We have to be present. So we have to be here now. And I can see every single one of you is here now. And all of you out there are here now because I can see that you're paying attention. You're not thinking of what you're going to say next. You're not kind of in tomorrow or yesterday. You're right here, right now. And that's the only thing that's real. And it's the only place that we can actually create. And we can create from source. And so one of the things that we do here in the kitchen, we've been doing this for years and years. I taught this to my kids when they were little, and my youngest one's 40 now, is this first paragraph. I'm going to ask everyone, if you would, just join me and breathe deeply. And then focus on your heart center. Focus on all the love in your heart. Focus on the love that you have for your family, the love that your family has for you. Focus on your love for your friends and your coworkers and just the people on the street and the clerk at 7-Eleven. And focus on the love that you have for Mother Earth and all the appreciation and gratitude that we have for all the abundance that she shares with us so lovingly, so willingly, without any expectation whatsoever. Hardly any expectation. Allow all that love to move from your heart center into every cell in your physical body and then out into your aura, so that everything that you touch, everything that you do will be imbued with this unconditional love. Breathe deeply, and when you're ready, come on back. This is something, if you read our recipe book, that is in the front of several of our recipes. Not all of them, but many of our recipes start with that. Just to remind the people that work here, yeah, I just got that phone call from my landlord and I'm a little off right now. I'm going to go resend. Or just it's a nice reminder for everybody just to stay focused and stay centered so that we can really deliver what we say we're doing up here, which is truly authentic food that is in harmony with the web of all of life. Love's going to win regardless if we're cooking from the heart. Love always wins. And the reason I want to mention this now is we're probably in the most turbulent part of our history in our world than we've ever been in before. I could be wrong. However, it's certainly the most turbulent in my lifetime. I've been around for 70 years. So it's a big deal what's going on right now. And you can look at it in a lot of different ways, but you can look at it from one way is there's fear over here, and then there's love over here. And love always wins. And so when we're doing what we're doing from the heart, we're contributing to the love that's in the universe, because we know that everything that we do goes out into the universe infinitely forever. And that's not just a new agey thing that we're talking about with that Parsha channel. This is something that's proven by quantum science now that happens. And so one of the reasons that love always wins is that when my loving expression goes out into the universe, and for instance, I'd like to end hunger on the planet, and then some other, and there's loving intent behind it. There's not ego intent, like, oh, I want to be the first one to give the praise for stopping hunger. That's different than I just like to see no hunger anymore, to see all children, all families eat really good, nutritious meals. Then that's a loving intent, and it goes out into the universe forever and it never stops. And so when Amber has the same loving intent, that I'd like to help my community, and there's some starving going on too, so I want to help nourish people there too. And then Austin and Taylor and Linda and the rest of you all think this loving intent. All that love goes out into the universe and it coalesces together. And that's one of the ways we can manifest. And so because love is infinite and goes on forever, because it's also in harmony with divine will, so our will is in harmony with divine will, then it's unstoppable. And that's how love, that's one of the ways that love always wins. When there's a motivation that comes from fear, or comes from ego, then that motivation is still in the universe. However, once we take our intent and move it away from that thing, it stops. But love goes on forever, and love acts on itself. Love has its own consciousness and acts upon itself to find other things of love and put them all together and bring it into manifestation where it drops into our 3D world. So I'm thankful that you're all here assisting me in loving and cooking from the heart. So let's get going. I'm going to start with some recipes, and then while I'm doing the recipes, we're going to talk about some of these other things. The first thing I want to cook is a fall stew, and you can use any vegetables at all. But I'm going to start with this beautiful butternut squash, and it's cleaned, of course, but I haven't peeled it because the peel actually has got a lot of fiber and vitamin and nutrition in it. I'm going to need a sheet and lucid oil. And so, by the way, we saved these seeds. If anybody wants to leave here with a bag of seeds, I've got acorn squash seeds, delicata squash seeds, and kabocha squash seeds. So let me know if you want any. I'll fix you up with some. One of the things I love about butternut squash is that it's very, you get a lot of meat out of it. You get a lot of substance.
Yep. That's what I use, but I wouldn't.
We're just going to put a little oil in the pan. Set it in the oven. And the reason we're doing this first is that it takes the longest. We only cook with one oil in this restaurant, and and I think we might be one of the 2 or 3 only restaurants in the world that do this. We only cook with coconut oil. Coconut oil with its medium chain fatty acid. And by the way, it's organic, cold pressed, extra virgin. And because it's medium chain fatty acids, it will not become carcinogenic regardless of how hot your heat gets. And so we like using it because that way we're not poisoning you bluntly. But in addition to that, it's the healthiest. So it's not only not harming you, not becoming carcinogenic, but those medium chain fatty acids are super beneficial to our system, skin, hair, bones, heart, almost everything. There's a book called The Coconut Oil Miracle. It's an amazing, skinny little book. It's only maybe 100 pages. It's full of information. Really, really, really worthwhile. For some recipes, I like to cut these mushrooms. But for something like this, I like it to be rough. And you can see what I'm doing. I've already washed the mushrooms. I'm just kind of squeezing it and see, they're kind of rough. It's going to be kind of wild. Does that make sense?
You're saying smashing? Mush brushing?
Yeah, can you see what I'm doing here? I'm just kind of like, that's how they're turning out.
Did you take the stem out?
Don't have to.
Then you said you washed them. I think you should wash
Yeah, I know. I've been listening to that for a long time. And the reason we don't want to wash mushrooms is you wash away the spores, which is where the beneficial nutrition and the flavors are. But a couple of things. One is, I've been in the restaurant business a long time. It's my 25th restaurant. I don't know everything, but I know that if I try to wash things with a dry towel, the way that some people tell you to do, it's going to either not work out great, my staff isn't doing it, and then I'm serving dirty food and leaving these growing duck food. And so to think that we can wipe that off with a dry towel doesn't make sense to me. And so what I like to do to clean these is I put them in a container like this, and I fill it with water, and I put the mushrooms in it, and then I agitate them like an agitator in your washing machine. And it gets them really, really clean, and you can smell them from here. I mean, you can smell the richness of these. So the spores are still there, except all the mud is gone. Does that make sense? So I could be right or wrong on this. I don't know. I don't know if there is a right or wrong, but that's the way I like to do it. And one of the reasons I'm doing the mushrooms first, if you've ever cooked mushrooms like this, you'll find that they get really hot and start to get dry, and then all of a sudden they'll burst and all the fluids come out of it. And that's when you know that they're ready. So we got these mushrooms in the bottom of the pan, and we're going to go turn it on the stove full blast and cut up some of these other veggies. With the onion, I want that to be kind of rough too. I don't want that to be really pretty and diced really nicely. I'm just going to chop it into maybe 6 or 8 pieces. Maybe like that. Same thing, just give me big chunks. Again, on the pepper, I'm just not even using the knife on this. I'm just ripping it open, taking the seeds out. We're going to just tear it up. It's going to be wild. Pretty good. You see it?
Yeah.
You can hear it for sure, right?
Yeah. Fantastic.
Now, that's no oil in the pan. That's all this natural water.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's cool, isn't it?
That's very cool.
Can you smell the aroma?
Yeah. It's beautiful.
You guys want to come back here and smell the aroma?
Oh my
So
God,
that,
it
if you
smells
smell that aroma, that's when
Yeah.
you're on target.
Yeah. Oh, it's not. I love
You with me?
Yes.
Can you
Oh, no. How's that going?
I'm going to talk a little bit about feminine and masculine cooking. The way that we just did that process with the mushrooms is very feminine. We're going to get involved in, we're going to use all of our senses, and we're going to feel into what's going on. Now, when you're really into this is the part of this is the weirdest part of this whole presentation. Because when I'm cooking something and I'm really on, I can literally hear the produce talking to me. And they'll say, David, nope, we don't want to go in that stew. We want to be in the lettuce down. Or, you know what? Why don't you make a nice carrot soup instead of using these carrots for whatever? And they'll let you know where they want to be. So again, when you're cooking from the heart and you're really in tune, you can feel it and you can hear it. And we all get our intuitions different ways. Some people see a vision, some people hear it, some people just feel it in a knowing way and they just know that's the right thing to do. When you're on, you all know what I'm talking about. When you are on and you're cooking, it'll literally say, nope, I want to be French onion soup. Don't do this to me. That's what I'm here to do. And it'll be that pronounced if you're paying attention, you're listening. We're ready for the veggies because the mushrooms are ready now, right? So we're going to pop these in. Give it a stir. So here's the best trick there is to make your food taste amazing, is make sure every single dish hits all 5 parts of the palate. When you do that, what literally happens is your palate, and therefore the rest of your whole being, gets turned on. But if you only hit 1 or 2 or even 4 of those, the food can still taste okay. But when that 5th one is hit, something magical happens. And people go, wow, this food is amazing. What did you do? Well, if you think about it, a lot of foods have more than one flavor profile to them. So they can be umami, and they can be sweet, and they can be pungent, or they could be sour at the same time. Like garlic is like that. Garlic has got a lot of properties to it. Just remember, let's go in the stew. Oh, sorry. Don't lose first. Gave it a stir, and the celery and the onions are releasing their water right now too. So it's time now for a little bit of coconut oil. In general, there are 2 different ways that you can cook. If you see a recipe that you like, or you're at somebody's home and they make a dish and you really enjoy it, and you say to them, this is really delicious, I'd like the recipe for that. They'll give you a printed recipe probably, and then you'll look at it and all the ingredients on it. And if you have those ingredients already, you check them off. But if you don't, then you make a list and you go to the grocery store, you buy all those items, and you take it home and you follow down the list and the procedure, and you make that dish. And it's a really delicious dish. And there's nothing wrong with cooking that way. It's pure masculine. When you have a recipe and an agenda, and you go get your stuff, put it together, that's all masculine energy. The feminine way of cooking is you open up your refrigerator door and say, oh, I've got some tomato paste and some garlic and some cilantro and some tortillas and some spicy peppers and some kimchi. I'm going to make a dish out of it. That's the feminine way of doing it. So the feminine way of, like, for instance, getting your vegetable box once a week from wherever your source is, and you don't know what it's going to be week by week. And you look in the box and say, oh, I guess I'm making potato salad this week. Or I guess I'm making a lot of grapefruit juice, or whatever's in season, of course, is what you're going to get. And that's a very feminine way to do it. And it's probably the way for thousands of years we were. I mean, we were gatherers, and we walked around, and we suddenly, after our long hike that day, we're in a peach grove. If we're hungry for strawberries, it doesn't make sense, right? We're going to eat peaches that day because we're in the middle of a beautiful peach grove, and that's what we're going to harvest, and that's what we're going to eat. So that's the way we lived for thousands of years, I believe. And when we stumbled across a lot of greens, then that's we ate salad for 3 or 4 days, and then we okay. And so that's not better or worse. It's the way I like to cook. There's less waste if you do it that way, and it's a lot of fun. It's more creative. It forces the creativity out of it, right? For anything. For the dish first, I really like the way that I don't like to waste anything, by the way, but these ends did look pretty clean. I know this is vain, but I gotta be able to see what I'm doing.
So you don't take the skin off the damaged thing.
No, I just scrub these. You can't really see, but we scrub them with a brush. We've got a vegetable brush that we use for these. And again, you can take the skins off if you like. I prefer the skins. I think that I like the vitamins and the fibers in the skin. But if you're adverse to it, there's nothing wrong with peeling them. Who wants to see something gorgeous? Let's see how nice it turned out. You can tell they're perfect because of the color on the outside here.
So this was just the coconut oil
That's it.
in the oven at what temperature?
400.
Yes.
Perfect. I would just get a spoon and start scooping that out and eat that. This is just absolutely gorgeous. Instead, though, cut off the tip. I will tell you, I have a feeling I know why other cooks put together cookbooks and they give you a butternut squash recipe with 17 ingredients in it. Because it's got to have their creativity and their special signage or their thumbprint on it to say, this is the way I do butternut squash, which is great. I don't have any problem with that at all. My cookbook is going to be, put some coconut oil on it, roast it, and you think you died and went to heaven. Right? I mean, because this truly is how nature wants us to eat this food. This is the way we ate it for, I guarantee, thousands of years. We didn't have cinnamon and ginger powder and clove and nutmeg to put on it, not in the same place at the same time in the same season we did. You know, they came a lot later. And so this is the way to authentically eat really healthy food. This is beautiful, thank you. We're going to put some herbs in our stew now. We're going to do some thyme and some sage, some salt and pepper, and some parsley. We chopped up. And then we're ready to go. A couple of tablespoons. A little thyme, a little sage. Kind of want to squeeze it, kind of get the juices coming out of it. We're just going to give it a quick stir. And it's kind of ready. We'll turn down the heat way low, and that's very close. Not ready. Last thing going in is the tomato paste. too, I don't want to say it's nondescript. It's fine on its own. It's really hard to dish. I would eat this with a big chunk of crispy bread, and I would feel like I just eaten the best meal ever. But this is, I don't want to say mundane. It's neutral enough so that you can add spicy food. So I could make this a Mexican dish. I just add in a little onion, pepper, some chilies, some guacamole, some tortillas, the tofu eggs, and it could be like maybe some Cheryl's kind of thing. Or you could make it Indian, or you could make it Ethiopian, or you could make it Thai. It less stuff.